Hey everybody, what's good? Khalil Amani in the house. Just want to talk to you a little free-form video. The music will go off shortly. But I'm here, I'm wearing my shirt. Little, show my arms and stuff. I mean, to be 65 years old, I got some pretty good looking guns. Don't you think? I said my guns. My arms are pretty good. Because I do push-ups, 4-5 times a week. I don't record it every day. I don't even talk about it. But once 2 or 3 months, I'll do a push-up video just to remind folks that I am about physical fitness. Because I know that when you're static, when your body is static, that means the opposite of dynamic. Static means when you sit still and your body doesn't work out. What happens is something called atrophy sets in, which is muscle deterioration. And as we get older, because we don't exercise, things like heart attack and stroke can occur in our 30s and even in our 40s. But knock on wood, I'm 65 just about, and I'm relatively healthy. I can do 60 to 70 consecutive push-ups, and that's far above what the medical establishment says I must do at my age. I'm only supposed to be able to do 12 to 15 push-ups at 65, and I'm doing 60 to 70 without stopping. So I think I'm ahead of the curve. And I like fashion. I like clothes. I like my shirts to fit right. I like my pants to fit right. So I'm always on a quest to keep my body in some form, some kind of shape. I got a little gut. Yes, I do. But I've had people remark on YouTube, what happened to Khalil? He's losing weight. Because I was a disgusting fat body for a little bit. I was at 217 pounds. And I'm only 5'6", 5'7". But now I'm down to a ready 185, 188. So I'm maintaining. But push-ups is part of my regimen. And it helps, keeps me strong. Where I can wear shirts with no sleeves and still look good. My arms look good as any 20 or 30-year-old's arms. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. 65. Does your grandfather look this good? I'm just asking. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit and just talk a little bit. Let me say shout out to my sister, my friend, my YouTube wife, Leak You Interloper Nation. That's right. Shout out to her. I love her so much. She pulled off a Molly 2.0. She gave it a name. I think it's called, I forgot the name, but she did that dude dirty. Oh, it was so entertaining to watch. But what I want to start out by saying is that I'll be uploading videos on this new channel that you might have seen or that might talk about those people over there, my so-called YouTube enemies. I don't want to mention their names, not that I'm afraid. I just want to move away from them. But I think I have some videos that are worthy to be on this channel where they are mentioned. And so I want you all to understand that I am not going backwards. I'm not taking no shots or no disses at those people. The only reason I'm airing these videos that have already been aired is because they are great teaching tools. They're great teaching tools. I'm sorry they are the brunt or behind the teaching, or I have to use these miscreants to prove a point about certain issues. But that's why I'm posting them. That's why I'm reposting them. not to start the beef again on this channel. I've given my word to Almighty God. I'm never speaking those niggas' names again. I'm moving on, and it's not because I'm afraid of them or this, that. It's simply that I know that I really prepare when I come on camera. I prepare. I do homework. I do research. I pull out books. I do investigation. I have source material lined up in front of me. I really do this YouTube. And I'm just sick and tired of every 4 or 5 months getting a strike or YouTube snatching the channel down because I'm going back and forth with people that really mean nothing to me. And the only way they can get at me is to try to get me off the air. But if you want to know the truth about it, it's not really my videos that YouTube are offended with. It's my community wall posts. That's where the strikes came. That's where the so-called bullying came from, not the videos. I've never gotten a strike on none of the videos. I swear on my mama grave. Never was it a video that I did that got my channel taken. It was my community wall post. Those were the videos, those were the writings, the daggers. My written commentary, those were the daggers that made those people call the YouTube police on me. It was none of my videos. You got it? So yes, I will be reposting videos wherein they are mentioned, but I want you to understand I'm only doing these videos because there's great information in there. I'm not afraid of the videos being stricken down because they never were struck down. Again, it was my community wall posts that YouTube claimed I was bullying folks. My videos were fine. Duh, who knew? And so again, when you see videos that I post wherein those people are mentioned in the videos, the video's not up there to get at them. They are a non-factor. The videos that I repost are there because there's some great information in it going beyond me talking about those people. The information is great. So that's what it is. So I don't, like I said, I could start all over and do these videos without mentioning their names, but why? So again, I will be posting videos, and some of those videos will be talking about those folks, but I want you to understand, I am not moving, I'm not going backwards. I'm not rehashing the beef. None of that. None of that. None of that. The only reason I'm posting videos wherein I might mention those people is because the information that I bring is powerful and positive. Just look past the fact that I may have to call their names a time or two. All right? That's my spiel on that. Nobody's taking shots. Nobody's taking jabs. No one is trying to start talking about them again. I'm past them. I'm done with them. They are beneath me. Let them say what they want to say about me. Call me a chicken, a scaredy cat, afraid. And even though I have left them alone, they are still every day calling my name. They even use my pictures, my face, as their emojis and profile pictures, even after I've tapped out of talking about them. That's how relevant I am in their world. And so as we go along, after I repost all the videos that I think are worthy of great information that may involve them, after that, you will never hear me mention their names again. I'm just not going to do it because it's not worth my channel. And I know, again, my channel, my videos are A-OK. None of my videos on my last channel were struck. My channel was taken because they said I was harassing and bullying based on what I was writing on my community wall. So I won't be doing that no more. Right when you think you got it, right when you think you understand YouTube harassment policies, you don't. So to save my channel, this will be the last channel that I ever have to worry about, because I'm not going to get into that kind of scuttlebutt with people that can't handle the fire and the heat. My God, I have left them alone, and every day my name still comes up on their channel. It tells you that they really want this to continue. And without talking about me, they don't really have a lot going on. They just don't. They just don't. I've done everything. They wanted to challenge me to burn $100, but they never burned $100. But I come back and I show you a little bit of my finances. I show you a six-figure finance that's coming to me. I don't need to burn $100. Shout out to Hamp Doom. He'll burn $100 in a minute. But the person that challenged me to burn $100, she won't burn $100. She act like she didn't put the challenge up, and then she took the challenge down. This is the kind of weirdo stuff that I was dealing with. I'm done. I'm done. And I'm rocking my coon hat, just so you know. And if you need to know what coon means, C.O.O.N. It means consciously optimistic, overtly nihilistic. I know those are some big words, and one day down the road, I'll deal with coon. That's how beautiful black people are. We flip everything. You call us a nigger, and we change it to nigga. You say nigger is about degradation and second-class citizenry and slavery and ignorance, and black people are no good. And black people come along and take that same nigger and do a 180 and flip it, nigga. And that means you are my brother, a term of endearment. Not all people agree with it, but that's what it means. You may not want to be called a nigga, but when someone steps to you and say, "What up, my nigga?" you're not going to throw your fists up like you about to fight. You're going to understand, as a black person, he's embracing you. He's coming to you on positivity, on brotherhood. That's what it means to be called a nigga, even if you don't like being called a nigga. Yo, my nigga, what's up, my nigga? We know what it means. You don't get all like this when you hear, "What up, my nigga?" But when someone says, "Hey, nigger," it raises something in you. We know the difference. Same thing for coon. We know that black folk used to be called coons and spear chuckers. But being the colorful people we are, and I'm a wordsmith, a master of words, I flipped the coon from slavery and I made it my coon. Consciously optimistic, overtly nihilistic. Again, we'll talk about that down the road. I just wanted to talk to you all a little bit. I don't even want to be too long. I just want you to understand that when you see these videos that I'm uploading, re-uploading, that may be talking about those people, I am not trying to rekindle anything with them. I want you to watch those videos because of the knowledge, because the science that I kick. They just happen to be casualties of war, casualties of my wicked, spectacular vernacular. They are casualties of my divine mind. They are casualties of my scientific and academic training. That's all they are. They're casualties. That's why when you hear me break down stuff, there's not a lot of shouting and profanity and I'm mad, I'm playing the tough guy role. When you got knowledge on your side, you can be cool, calm, and collective. Meanwhile, when you hear their rebuttals, they're cursing, they're mad. They're cursing at each other. They name calling one another. My God, I would not want to be in a relationship on YouTube with Leak You and Reverend X and all the great people that are out there where we are going back and forth on every video, where we are dependent on one another's content. No, I love the independence of Khalil Amani's World 100. I love the independence of Reverend X, Dark Man. I love his independence. I love the independence of J. Lee Chronicles. I love the independence of Leak U / Interloper Nation. We all do our own thing. We agree on certain situations. And if we don't agree, there's no need to come out here and act a fool and say, well, I disagree with you, blah, 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 and all that craziness. Because you're not going to agree with everybody on every subject. But when you have respect and likeness and love for people, you respect their mental autonomy. When you respect people's minds, you respect that they have the right to disagree with you, to have another viewpoint, another point of view. And you respect it. And sometimes their point of view can challenge your point of view and even shape and change your point of view. Maybe you just didn't see it like they saw it. That's the beauty of the mind that the universe has given us. The variant and various and aberrant positions about any given subject. That's right. Now, let me say this. I want to speak about writing books and creating documentaries. Writing books and creating documentaries. And people calling themselves journalists. Let me talk about the journalist part. There are academically trained journalists. There are YouTube journalists that call themselves guerrilla journalists, like the young brother, the man, not young, he's old as me, Herman Smalls. It's okay to call oneself a journalist, it is. But there are levels to this shit. You can go to school and get a bachelor's degree in journalism and really understand the fine points of journalism. Something that most people don't do. But there are a lot of people out here calling themselves journalists, but don't know nothing about journalism. People call themselves guerrilla journalists, meaning they are not academically trained and they're talking off the cuff. There's also something called gonzo journalism. G-O-N-Z-O, gonzo. You never heard of that? Let me just show it to you. Let me show it to you. Gonzo journalism.
According to Wikipedia, gonzo journalism is a style of journalism that is written without claims of objectivity, often including the reporter as part of the story using a first-person narrative. The word gonzo is believed to have been first used in 1970 to describe an article about the Kentucky Derby by Hunter S.
See? Gonzo journalism is a style of journalism that is written without claims of objectivity, often including the reporter as part of the story using a first-person narrative. The word gonzo is believed to have been first used in 1970. Gonzo journalism.
According to Wikipedia, gonzo journalism is a style of journalism that is written without claims of objectivity, often including the reporter as part of the story using a first-person narrative. The word gonzo is believed to have been first used in 1970 to describe an article about the Kentucky Derby by Hunter S.
All right. I know most of you never heard of that. You've heard of journalism. And now there's a brother in the conscious community named Herman Smalls that calls himself guerrilla journalism. But in the 1970s, a guy named Hunter S., he coined the phrase gonzo journalism. I just want to throw that out there as we talk about the process of writing books and the process of doing documentaries. And so as some of you are starting to see, there are people that claim they are writing books that would never write a book. There are people that are claiming that they are doing documentaries. I mean, we throw these words around. Journalists, journalism. Documentary, documentaries. We throw these words around like it's nobody's business. And the sad reality is, as we are seeing, there is no documentary from that side over there. I do want to make a point about that. When you do a documentary, it's not an ongoing process, a works in progress. You show a little here, you go back and do this and bring it back here. That's not a documentary. You're just doing YouTube videos. When someone creates a documentary, it goes from start to finish, from beginning to end. And they go back and they edit it and they package it up, and then they can put it out in piecemeal, in part 1, part 2, part 3, and so forth. Or they can run it, as a series, or they can run it and show the whole entire thing. But you don't create a documentary and then it's still a work in progress. That's not a documentary. You don't say my documentary is ongoing until next year. No, those are a bunch of videos you're doing, that's all. It should be a crime to use words to label things, just any old video, as a documentary. It should be a crime. You shouldn't be able to use words that really mean something. A documentary takes blood, sweat, tears, and money, and time, and effort, and stick-to-itiveness. You see, when my good friend Layla Wills did her documentary, she's a real journalist. She got on planes, trains, and automobiles to go see the persons that she wanted to interview for her documentary. We signed waivers to allow our voices and faces and likenesses to be used in her documentary. She recorded us using great equipment. She went back home and edited the stuff and put it together and made it cohesive. She made it monolinear. She made it, it followed a story from beginning to end. She tried to get it on Netflix and other places. Well, that day just might come, but in the meantime, Miss Layla Wills put that documentary out in piecemeal, section by section, I think in 44 parts. When she put it out, it was done. Not only that, in those 44 parts of Trapped in a Culture, nobody is interviewing her. I mean, who interviews the person that's creating the documentary? That's weirdo journalism. There's 44 parts to Trapped in a Culture, And not one part is there a part dedicated to Miss Layla Wills. You see her on camera, you hear her voice, you hear her asking the questions of those who have something to do with Africa Bambaataa trapped in a culture. That's a documentary. But to go around asking people to interview you for your documentary, it's just weirdo. What it says is that you don't have nothing. What it says is you don't even have, the main participants of that particular documentary. You can't get Bambaataa on camera. You can't get Hassan Campbell on camera. You can't get Ronald Savage on camera. You can't get Troy Star Terrain on camera. You can't get Khalil Amani on camera. You can't get Miss Layla Wills on camera. You can't get any of the big players of this Bambaataa saga on camera. And so, your so-called documentary is reduced to you asking bum niggas to interview you about your opinions and thoughts. You certainly can't get the young man that stabbed African Bambaataa on camera. So what do you really have? What do you really have? I said it should be criminal to be able to use the word documentary when you haven't done the documentary, when you claim it's an ongoing process, where you're still looking for people to interview you, and then you make an absolute fool of yourself by going into enemy territory. Shout out to Leak You Interloper Nation. And just so you all know, as she said, I was fully aware of all of the drama before it happened. That I was in contact with Leak You. I was in contact with Miss Interloper Nation. And she told me, it's all a setup. I'm going to play nice with that guy. I'm going to ask him a few questions about, what happened to that boy. And then I'm going to drop the hammer. And we're going to get to this child pedophilia stuff and the stuff he said that he looked up child mouthing porn. And she did a magnificent job. The setup, how he didn't see the setup. Even his queen, even she went over there and told that nigga, you dumb motherfucker, you got set up. But that's what desperation will do. That's what desperation would do when you have nothing. When you have nobody on your side. And you're trying to build a narrative and a documentary based on people that won't even talk to you. It's a bad thing. So it makes you be desperate and makes you try to center yourself as the object. You try to make yourself the center. Of the documentary. It would have been better had you say, I'm doing a documentary about my life. Then you have all the right to speak and speak and speak and speak. And if you're doing a documentary about your own life, you don't need to be interviewed. All you need to do is turn the camera on and start talking about your life in sections. You can do as many parts as you want. Half hour sections. I'm going to talk about my childhood, part 1. I'm going to talk about my teen years, child 2. I'm going to talk about my early adult years, part 3. I'm going to talk about becoming a Hebrew Israelite, part 4. I'm going to talk about the wake up and realizing that I don't want to be a Hebrew Israelite, part 5. I'm going to talk about my mother coming down with the illness that was debilitating, part 6. Burying my mother, part 7. Coming on to the debate scene, part 8. Stumbling upon the African Bambaataa story, part 9. Creating my own movement, what happened to that boy, part 10. That's how it should have been set up. And it should have been my life leading to the Bambaataa scandal, something like that. It shouldn't have been what happened to that boy. It should have been my life in this social media world and how I created a lane for myself. You wouldn't need nobody to interview. You are the only person that has to talk. But in your desperation to connect yourself to a story that had nothing to do with you, you allowed yourself to go and be interviewed by an open enemy. And you got your ass handed to you. It was quite entertaining. It was quite entertaining. But that's what your documentary should be. And the fact that this person has nothing to do with the Bambaataa story, the fact that this person gets very little views and hardly no comments under anything that he does on YouTube, what would make him think that anybody would pay $2.99 or 10 cents to sign up to give their personal banking information to YouTube so that they can go behind the scenes and watch him? I mean, this is the ignorance and arrogance of some of these YouTubers. They want to be journalists, but they have no journalistic background. They want to be an author, a book writer, but they can't write books. They want to be a documentarian person, but they don't understand the structure of doing documentaries. And then in their egoism, in their self-absorbed egoism, they have the nerve, the unmitigated gall, the balls, to say that if you want to watch my documentary, you got to pay me $2.99 when you can't get niggas to even comment on your videos. And so you turn your videos off and you put them under a pay and claim you're going to make niggas pay to see what you're talking about. That only works when you have a real following. If you have a Hassan Campbell following with 500,000+ subscribers on YouTube, when you have a Tasha K following where you got 1 million+ followers on YouTube, you can do. Pay me to watch my shit. But when you got 4,000 subscribers and you can't get one person to leave a comment on your videos, what makes you think people are going to pay you to watch your shit? And so it's almost like biting off one's nose to spite your face. Is that what they say? You do the work, which ain't really that much, but you do the work of calling yourself creating a documentary, and then you close it down and you say, pay $2.99. Not even the people closest to your circle, which is not a circle, it's more like an arc, a crescent moon. Not even they will pay the $2.99. They say, I'm not paying for that shit. But this is the egoism of people that want to look at the Tasha K's of the world, the Troy Star Terrains of the world, people with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, the Hassan Campbells of the world, that think they can come on YouTube with a measly 4,000 subscribers And the 4,000 subscribers don't even match the view count. And you think you're going to make somebody pay to see your shit. And basically, you're doing us all a favor. You would be better represented if you did your documentary and put it out for free. Even Miss Layla Wills, as brilliant and genius and cutting edge and above and ahead of the curve that Trapped in a Culture was and is, she gave it to us free. And when we watched it, she gets thousands of views on each episode. 5,000, 10,000, 30,000 views. And she gave it to us free. And she had to use her own hard-earned money to create that brilliant series. Then you got a guy on YouTube who hasn't spent 1 cent on his so-called documentary, hasn't interviewed one person associated with the Bambaataa story, but he wants you to pay for his. I just want to shine the light on this. This is not hate. This is called deconstruction. This is called, you see what I'm saying? If you can't get views, if you can't get comments, what makes you think people are going to pay to hear what you got to say about Bambaataa, especially in light of the fact that they know you ain't got shit to do with the Bambaataa story, the stabbing, none of that. And so what it says at the end of the day, what it says is this: you fucked up, my nigga. You fucked up, my nigga. All the people that you actually were talking to in the beginning are gone. That you fucked up. And now you want to try to produce a work of no substance. Imagine how great your documentary would be if you hadn't shitted on Hassan Campbell and you were still talking to him. Imagine how great your documentary would be if you hadn't shitted on Khalil Amani, the first person to write about Bambaataa getting stabbed in 2013. Imagine if you had our faces and voices and testimony in your documentary. Imagine how great your documentary would be if you could interview Layla Wills and hadn't put her in a murder case down in Atlanta, Georgia. Imagine how great it would have been if you could have got Troy Star Terrain's voice on your documentary. Imagine. Because he was there too in 2013 when the shit jumped off. You don't even have, you could actually go and pull up the allhiphop.com articles from April of 2013 to see the beginnings of this story. You don't even have that in your documentary. Yet you claim that Miss Layla Wills is afraid and never talked about the 2013 stabbing, which is a goddamn lie. She interviewed me in two parts, and we go over the stabbing of Bambaataa in 2013. Yet you say that she never talked about it. All you gotta do is go over to Layla Wills' page, scan down to the Khalil Amani interviews. There's 2 of them. One of those interviews, I talk about Bambaataa getting stabbed in 2013. The evidence is there. But imagine all the bridges you burned and want to come back and try to do a documentary. You burned Hassan. Oh, imagine if you could have Ronald B. Stinger Savage on camera telling you about his experiences leading into the Bambaataa stuff. But you can't get any of the movers and shakers, any of the frontline people to speak with you. But you want to do a documentary on that subject. That's right. And so people, YouTubers specifically, not pacifically, specifically, YouTubers are quick to say they do research. That's another word that they throw around haphazardly. YouTubers are quick to say they writing a book. YouTubers are quick to say they got a documentary. But the reality is, the average YouTuber doesn't know how to write a book. The average YouTuber doesn't know how to present a documentary. They know the words, but they can't put it to action. And so the end result is a bunch of shit. The end result is a YouTuber saying that he has a documentary that's ongoing. The end result is a YouTuber saying he's got a documentary that he needs you all to participate and interview him. The end result is my documentary dropped, but I ain't done with it yet. This is the kind of foolishness that would never be tolerated in a college and university in a journalism class. If the students at a university had to produce a documentary to get their bachelor's or master's degree, they would never tolerate what we are seeing with this person claiming they have a documentary wherein it's ongoing and he needs people to interview him to put the information in the documentary. And it's, in a college or university course, to go on and get an A or a B or a C, to go on to the next course, to get that Bachelor's of Arts or Bachelor's of Science, to get that Master's of Arts or Master's of Science degree at a university, in journalism, you are going to have to create a journalistic work from start to finish and package it up and present it to the professor and to the board of professors that they may review it and say, yes, you deserve your master's in journalism because you have a work, a cogent. The word cogent means understanding, everything's in order. A cogent work that starts and finishes. No documentary is a work in progress. Did you hear what I said? No documentary is a work in progress. You don't present a documentary until you complete the documentary. Go look at Netflix documentaries. Go look at Layla Will's documentary. Everything is done. They present the whole package. And so, I think I've talked enough. Yes. I just wanted to come on and say again that none of my videos on my prior channel were stricken, took a strike. It was my community wall that got me afoul of YouTube. And that's what happened when you have a mean pen game. And so I won't be talking about those people. But I wanted to come on and share with you that you will see videos where those people's names and situations will be mentioned, because I think there's some good information in those videos. And again, shout out to LeakU Interloper Nation. She did a masterful job. So far in 2025, Lee Q Interloper Nation, she's leading the nominations for Troll of the Year. And I don't think she can be beat. As a matter of fact, what she did to that guy was damn near better than what I did to him with the Molly. I mean, it was a setup. She took that nigga out in deep, shark-infested waters and fed that nigga to the sharks. And she was the shark. Set him up, beautiful, and tore him down. But that's what happens, people, again. When you rely on others to try to do a documentary. That this fellow actually was trying to rely on the information from Lee Q to put in his documentary, when the documentary should have already been done. And then the crazy thing about this whole thing, I gotta say this, that his sidekick, that chick, actually suggested to hide the documentary and make niggas pay for it. I think she's working for us on the down low, because that was not good and smart advice. The advice that she should have given that guy about his documentary: don't charge for it. Your channel is struggling as it is. Don't charge for it. Nobody comments on your videos as it is. Don't charge for it. Nobody will go in your live when you speak and engage you. Don't charge for it. You do not have the ear of the people. Don't charge for it. Your videos are struggling to break 50 views. Don't charge for it. Layla Wills did a whole series and she really had people in her documentary that were related to the story. Don't charge for it. But these two bums, they think by charging to see the work, hiding the work, trying to make us pay to see the work, that we're going to be bummed out and sad. We don't want to pay for it, and we're not, because here's the thing: we know everything that he's going to say. The only thing he's going to do is play the Hassan Campbell video from Queen's Flip episode 29, where Hassan says he took a picture to murder the boy. We're going to hear that over and over and over. He wants you to pay for another man's intellectual property. And no one's going to do it. No one's going to do it. J. Mike ain't going to do it. Silentium ain't going to do it. And the so-called QUEAN, she claims her card's messing up and she can't do it. So no one's going to watch his work. And if the purpose of the documentary is to get it out there where people can watch, then you are doing a disservice. You are shooting yourself in the foot by putting a price on it. You're not Tasha K. You don't have the followers whereby if you got 1 million followers, you can get, 85,000 of them to pay, $2.99 and make a few coins. You don't have it that way. And so you're doing all of us a favor by putting a price tag on it. That means we don't have to see that shit, that garbage, that basura. And with that, y'all, I just wanted to come on this Saturday and talk to you all and let you know, I got new fresh content. I will be doing new fresh content. But right now, I'm uploading videos that I did on my old channel that I think have good value. That's what it's all about. We're not going back. We're not going to engage those people. I just wanted to comment on the current situation. Shout out to Lee Q for destroying that dude. Shout out to you, sister. Oh, one more thing I must say. On interviews. I gotta say this. Not anybody can just interview Khalil Amani. I am not desperate for interviews. I say that because when I go back to the Sonnetter and Herman Smalls video that I just posted yesterday, where Sonnetter was saying, you should interview Khalil Amani. You should interview Khalil Amani. And Herman Smalls says, I don't want to interview him. He's an agent. Let me say this to you all. I don't interview with anybody, especially if I know you're not feeling my life story. Fuck you and do your own thing. Go over there and talk about me. It's not that I'm afraid to go before somebody who doesn't agree with how I live my life. That's not it. I just don't care to. At 65, I do not care to lip wrestle with anybody who got a problem with how I lived my life. Fuck you and your opinion, and go over there and make a video about how I lived my life. I don't have to entertain you. And certainly, who is this dude, Herman Smalls? Smalls, pun intended. He's a small fry. He's a small fish. Nobody knows Herman Smalls. How dare he tell Sonnetter that he didn't want to interview me? My name is bigger than his. How dare he tell Sonnetter that he didn't want to interview me because I worked for the FBI when he's going to interview Al Sharpton, who also worked for the FBI. So you're a hypocrite. But going beyond that, whoever said that I would consent to an interview with this nigga Herman Smalls? Sonnetter suggested it, but he'd have to run it by me. And I can tell you right now, I would have shut Sonnetter down and told him, no, I'm not interviewing him. Even before hearing this recent stuff. I already had my finger on who Herman Smalls is and was. I already knew that he was one of these pro-black, nationalist, Afrocentric jerks that don't want nobody to ever talk to the FBI. It was already fuck Herman Smalls. Sonnetter didn't know that, but if Sonnetter had reached out to me and said, hey, I want you to interview with this guy, Herman Smalls, I would have said, respectfully, my brother, no. And he would go, oh, man, what? Because I don't like his point of view, and I don't care to have him challenge my point of view and the way I have lived my life. I don't care. I've been knowing Herman Smalls since 2016 when we saw Sonnetter interview Ronald Savage and Hassan Campbell in Harlem on 125th Street. That's when I first saw this guy, Herman Smalls. I don't like his types. I don't like the so-called Afrocentric Pan-Africanist, you know, the Umar Johnson type that tell me I can't date a white woman or a Latina or an Asian woman because, you know, she got to be black. I don't like niggas that try to tell me where to put my dick. I don't like those kind of niggas. And I've never liked Herman Smalls. So although he fiends, although he may think that he could have interviewed me, telling Sonnetter, I don't want to interview him. You weren't going to get an interview anyway, because I peeped your mentality in 2016. I wanted to say that. Furthermore, let me say this. Those of you who know me, I gotta say it. I gotta toot my own horn. I got to flex. Those of you know me, you know that I'm not a Rudy Poot ass YouTuber. I'm somewhat famous. That I have been on national TV. I have been interviewed on national TV 6 times. CBS, the Biography Channel, the Biography Channel again, Investigation Discovery Channel, the Oxygen Channel, and the CW Channel. I've even been in People magazine. Let me flex. Can I? Can I flex? Yeah. Yeah. I've even been in People magazine. So my media game is top notch. It's through the roof. And the reason that my media game is through the roof, because I didn't just say I was going to write a book. I wrote a book about my life. All this is before the advent of YouTube, before we got crazy with the YouTube shit. I did the homework. But when you have been in the most popular magazine in America, because niggas was, I know most of y'all seen this, but still, there's always somebody who will come in and say, who don't know. I said, when you have been in the most popular magazine in America, on the groceries, when you go to the groceries to check out, there's a People magazine right there. When you go in there and you read about, my cult story, and you turn the page, and then you got my face. That's right, my beard is really gray. This is dye, but it's really great. When you see my face in the most popular magazine in America, you get a little bit cocky, you get a little arrogant, and it's not even that. It's like going on 6 national TV shows, being featured in People magazine. It's like the creme de la creme. It's like the mountaintop of media. And then someone says, I want to interview you on YouTube. If it's someone you don't like, then it's like, I'm not hard up for interviews, is what I'm saying. I'm not hard up. When you've done mainstream media, where people have paid you, flown you first class to New York and Miami and Seattle and Los Angeles and put you in a 5-star hotel room, limousine service at the airport, limousine service to the studio, gave you a check for showing up, gave you money to eat, and then you watch the fruits of your labor some 3, 5, 6 months later, you turn on the TV, and there you are in prime motherfucking time. Most of you will never have that, understand that feeling of adulation. You will never understand that experience. I'm telling you about it. You can live vicariously through me. How dare someone like this dude, Sonetta's friend Herman Smalls, says he's not going to interview me? Who the fuck does he think he is? And so when I do give interviews, I give them sparingly, and I give them the people that I like, that I trust, like that. I'm not putting down YouTubers and YouTube interviews. But I want you to understand where I come from. I come from the mountain of mainstream media. I give interviews on YouTube sparingly. Anytime Leak You wants an interview, she gets it. It's my baby. She gets it. Hamp Doon, he wants to interview me. I'm going to give him some time in a couple of days or about a week. I'm going to give him a little time. But understand, I've done so much media, and I could be doing a lot more media. I've done it all. But when I retire in May, I'm going to get back on my media thing. You're going to see me in the media more. I'm going to pursue the movie stuff. All right, I just wanted to say that. Who can interview me? No, who will I allow to interview me is the question. I don't have to go on my enemy's channel to be interviewed or talked to. That's what they don't get. They're begging me to come over there and sit with them and all this craziness because they have no frame of reference for where I have been in life. And when you have no frame of reference for where a person has been in life, you think that your channel is where they should be, and that's the be-all, end-all, and that their channel is going to make you get all warm and fuzzy to be on their channel. They have no frame of reference for what you have done. And with that, y'all, I am Professor Khalil Amani. Take care of one another. And I love you all for a better world. Take care.